they told me the exact same thing. And so I was that kind of like dumb foreigner that trying to fail me, so I pay money because 皆さんこんにちは、ヒゲさんです。今回は僕の運転免許の旅話したい。So today I would like to talk to you guys about my experience getting my driver's license here in Japan, because my experience getting my driver's license here was not particularly a fun thing. But fortunately for me, I already had a driver's license in Japan, so I was able to change it to a Japanese driver's license. But the one big problem is that where I'm from, well, technically in America, there are only a few states where you can change your driver's license without taking a test. And unfortunately, I am not from one of those states. So I had to take a written test and a driving test to get my license here. And I was thinking, どうかな? So when I was doing research about how to get my driver's license changed here, there was some paperwork that I had to do, like translate my driver's license and all that good stuff, you know, paperwork in Japan, whatever. And then when I went to the Menkyo office, and when I arrived there, I was sitting there, just, you know, waiting for my turn. And then when I went in, had a little bit of an interview. They asked me questions about my driving history and all that stuff. And after we were done with that, they told me that you can take your written test right now if you'd like. So I said, oh, okay then. And I don't know how the written test is here in Japan for Japanese people, but for me, it was only a 10 question test. So, and after finishing, they can tell you your results, and I passed it. So it was like, yay, I did it. But then I found out that I could take my driving test the same day, which I didn't know that I could do, and I wasn't prepared at all for it. 全然準備してなかった because I already have been living in Japan for 4 years, and that means that I haven't driven in 4 years. And to make things harder, I haven't even practiced driving on the opposite side of the road and also driving on the opposite side of the car. So I was thinking to myself, どうしよう But I thought, you know, let's just have this experience and just kind of practice, you know, try to see how it goes. So I said, します. I will take the test. So I got in the car, and then someone else got in the back, because I think that's how they do the driving test here, which is something new. Actually, in America, when you take your driving test, you are in the car by yourself. But in Japan, they have the person who's going to take the test after you finish sit in the passenger seat behind you. So I thought, それは珍しい. I didn't know that. But anyways, after the police officer got in the car and, you know, we did the whole thingy stuff like checking and everything, I got in the car. I couldn't figure out how to turn on the car first because I was like, where's everything? And one thing that I was also very confused about was the blinkers, because the blinkers and the windshield wipers are also on the opposite side, which I didn't know. And so I was that kind of like dumb foreigner that is when I tried to turn on the signals, you know, I turned on the windshield wiper. And I'm sure when the police officer saw that, he thought, which he was right, because after I turned the car and started moving, I just couldn't do it. I mean, we drove like maybe about like 3 minutes, and then he told me, もう終わります. And you know, shogunai, I knew I was gonna fail it because I wasn't prepared at all. I never practiced driving on the other side of the road or anything. So after that, I wanted to practice, but the other unfortunate thing is that I didn't have a car and I didn't have anybody that could lend me a car to practice. So I used the bike to pretty much kind of practice driving. So I would kind of pretend I had the signals and I would be on the side of the road and then kind of move a little bit more to the side and then turn and all that good stuff. And I think that helped a lot because, as you see, I have my driver's license now. I have it right here, yay! But I was really determined to get my driver's license. And after I went my second time, I said, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pass this test. I got in the car, and actually I got to one of the hard parts of the test where you have to do kind of like an S turn, like an S curve or something like that. And after I finished that, the police officer told me, "Mo warimasu." And so I thought, okay, this is the end of the test. And then we got to the place. I just returned the car back, and then he told me I failed the test. And I thought, huh? I did everything right. And the police officer told me that I didn't get close enough to the corner when I was doing my turn, which, you know, I did move a little bit to the side, still a good amount, but he said no. So I was like, oh, okay then, I'll accept it this time, no problem. So after that, I retook it for a third time, and this time, chanto benkyou shita. I made sure I was gonna do it this time. So we got in the car, and actually went through the entire test. And then when we got to the end of the test, the police officer told me again that I didn't pass it because I was not close enough to the corner when I was turning. And I knew for a fact that this time I was actually very close to the corner, and not close enough where I'm interrupting the bike lane, like just right there. But he told me no, and I thought, what, really? Like, come on, like I did it correctly, but you know, I can't argue with that. So I said, okay, whatever. And then after that, I rescheduled my next appointment, and then the fourth time they told me the exact same thing. And I thought, shinjiranai, like majide, like what is this? And I heard a lot of stories about foreigners that also, when they take the test here, that they are purposely made to take the test over and over again, even if they passed it, unless you are an extremely perfect driver, like extremely perfect. I think I only saw one person that said that they passed it the first time, but I don't even know if they were telling the truth or they were just saying it. I don't know. But everybody else has been saying that they had to take the test like 5, 10, 15, 20 times until they passed the test. And they were sure that they followed all the rules and everything was done right. And at that point, I was thinking to myself, am I a victim of this as well? Or are they purposely trying to fail me so I pay money? Because I have to pay money to take this test. So I was extremely bothered that they were failing me, even though I know I did everything right. But I said, you know, I can't argue. I just have to do it. Gaman shinakya. So I rescheduled my test for a 5th time. And luckily, this was the time that I finally passed the test. Or should I say, they passed me. And I'm going to tell you guys something too. This time, I actually made some mistakes. So one mistake that I made is whenever I was turning, I didn't move to the right a little bit before making my turn. So that's already one mistake that I made. We got to the end of the test, and I was already prepared that he was gonna fail me. I was gonna have to reschedule and take the test. But he actually just told me to go to the back seat. And I was thinking, huh? Because all the other times that I took the test, they just told me that I failed and then that was it, and I left. But this time, he told me that I should just go to the back seat. So I was like, okay. But at this time, I already knew I was gonna fail. I don't know why he told me, so I was so just like not thinking. So I went to the back seat, and I was sitting there while the other person was taking their test. And I was just like, okay. これはちょっとおかしいと思った。So the person got out of the car, and then that's when the officer told me that I passed the test. And I thought to myself, huh? He told me that I passed the test. And I was thinking to myself, how did I pass the test when I made 2 mistakes? And the past couple times that I took the test, I did it perfectly, and then they didn't pass me. And here's another thing too. The person that I think I was taking the test with this time, the final time, was, I'm thinking the chief police officer, because he was wearing a different kind of uniform than the other officers that I took the test with. Like his uniform was a little bit more kind of, not fancy, but more kind of like superior. So I'm thinking maybe he was a like chief police officer in that facility or in that department. I don't know. But having him pass me with 2 mistakes and him being the chief, maybe the chief police officer, I was just in shock. I was like, what? But I just said, okay. And I went ahead and just got out of the car and gave him my paper, and then that's it. Got my driver's license. Had to go do some other paperwork and stuff, and then boom, finished. And I was just extremely happy that I was able to get this over with, because I gotta say, my experience getting my driver's license here in Japan was not fun, because the test itself was okay, whatever, I can retake the test. But it was the fact that I had to request days off from work, and then going to the place too was also a little bit far from where I was living, and just all that stuff was extremely annoying to do. But then again, it's not really fair, because the people that are living in America and living in states where they can transfer their license, they also don't have experience driving on the other side of the road. People from the UK, they drive on the same side as here in Japan, so they can get their license, change it, and no problem at all. But for the other people that live in America, I don't understand why they can do that and not have to take the test. So it's just extremely annoying. But at the end of the day, I was just so happy that I was finally finished with all of this. I don't have to take any more tests. I am okay. But that will be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about my experience. And also, please feel free to share your experiences also getting your driver's license, like how strict it is here for you guys to get it. I know it's already sugoku takai to get your driver's license here, so I'm wondering how the tests and all the classes are as well. And if you guys are curious, I could also make a video about how getting your driver's license works in America as well, if you guys are curious about that. But with that being said, 皆さん、ありがとうございました。またね。